So we're going to start a new document. A document is kind of like a piece of paper on a computer. It's a place where you can type, you can add pictures, you can do anything that you would do on a piece of paper. But it's even better on a computer because sometimes you could do even more things with it on the computer, okay? So I want to make a new one. Look at the words on this screen. If I want to make something new, what word do you think I should use over here in my menu? Which button do you think I should use to make something new? What do you think? Okay, right now, see how the little arrow is pointing to my drive? That means that I'm in my drive, and that means, well, right now I'm in Mrs. Valencia's drive, and these are all the files that she has saved. But I want to make a new one. What do you think?
Press create.
Create. I want to create a new one. So I'm going to press create, and I have different options, okay? This is how Mrs. Valencia creates her forms, okay? But I want to create a document. So I'm going to press on document, and see, it's a new fresh piece of paper on my computer, a new document that I can start typing with, okay? But I need to make sure that I give this document a name. Can you see up at the top where it says untitled document? I need to give it a new name because untitled means it doesn't have a name, okay? So rename document. So what do you think would be a good name for this document? What are we writing about? What do you think would be a good name? Second grade? How about my year in second grade? And then I can press OK. Now see how it's changed up at the top? Okay. And what's great about making a document in Google, that's what we used. We signed into My2USD, so we're using Google Docs. This is a Google Doc. It means that I don't have to save it because every time I type something, it's going to save it for me. So when I go back to look at it, it will still be there. Okay? So now I can start typing, okay? And I can type the same words that I had on my rough draft paper, right? So if I look at my rough draft paper, I can see that it begins with the words, the important thing about second grade is that. Now I want to make sure that I have capitals. Do you know how to make a capital? What do I have to press first? Everybody tell me. Shift, and then the letter. So the important thing about, second grade is that, and then I'll begin typing what I've already written here. Okay? Do you see what I'm doing? Okay. Another thing, what else could I add to this? Right here I see a title. It says the important thing about second grade by, and then my name. So I can put that. Maybe I want to put that before my writing. So if I click right here, then I can add that. I can add my title. The important thing about second grade. And I'm going to press enter. And I can put by Miss Cruz. Okay, now you see how there's an error here? I can go back and change it just like you would on anything else. Okay? Okay, and maybe I want this part to be in the middle. Do you see right here these lines? I'm going to choose the one that's centered, and then that will mean that all of those letters will be in the center, and now my writing will be over here, okay? So I can start typing it, and I can type up my whole thing, okay? But our job is to create the document, which we've already done, and to share the document. We want to share it with Mrs. Valencia so that she can share it with the big kids so that they can look at it on their computers, okay? So I need to share. Where do you think I'm going to click to share? What do you think? Up in the, right, in the top corner. Now yours will say your name because you're going to log in, right? So I'm going to press share. And it gives me some options here, okay? Now, right here, it already gave Mrs. Valencia access because she's the owner. She's the one who created this because we're in her account, okay? But I want to add people. So I'm going to go down here to invite people, okay? And I'm going to add a name. Now, when you do it, whose name are you going to add? Mrs. Valencia, okay? Right now, I'm just going to add myself because Mrs. Valencia is already on here, so I'm going to add my name. So I'm going to start typing E. Cruz. There it is. Did you see how when I started to type, the name came up? So when you start to type Mrs. Valencia's name, you can type M. Valencia, and you'll see that her name will start to show up, and then you can just click on it. Because it's important, not only does it have my name, but it has my email address. And that's what we really need. You really need to have her email address. If it just says her name here, it's not going to share properly, okay? That's why when it starts to come up, you need to click on it, okay? Let me show you that one more time. So I'm going to delete all of this, and I'm going to start typing a name. So mine would be E. Cruz. And see how I start typing and it comes up? I just click on that name, and now I know that that name will be shared, okay? What name are you going to share it with? Mrs. Valencia. So you'll put M. Valencia. You don't need to put a space, okay? And then it will come up. Now, I can put, it says notify people via email, so that means once you hit send, Mrs. Valencia will get an email that says, guess what? This student just shared this document with you, okay? That's what I want, so I'm going to press send. And now look at that. See how more people appear in the list? Okay, so after you've pressed send, then you should see your name, and you should see Mrs. Valencia's name, okay? It looks a little different here because we're signed in as Mrs. Valencia. So I can press done, and I can keep typing, I can make changes, and whatever I do, Mrs. Valencia will also be able to see because I shared it with her, okay? Got it?